Hi, I'm Liv, and today I want to talk about Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Lady Midnight, Lady Midnight, such a good book. Okay, so basically the plot of this book is the Shadowhunters of Los Angeles are investigating a series of murders that are eerily similar to the murders of Emma Carstairs' parents, who was our main character. And the story is basically her story for the need of revenge, avenging her parents. And along the way, she starts to kind of develop feelings for her parabatai, who is supposed to be her best friend and warrior companion, but for unknown reasons, the Clave does not want parabatai to be romantically involved. They're only allowed to be friendly love. Our main character, Emma Carstairs, she's basically a badass Jace. The first page, when we're reading through Emma's point of view, she's talking about this one person she has in her phone. And I quote, this is what she says. "I wasn't planning on dumping Cameron. We were here and he called and his face came up on my phone. Well, actually a llama came up on my phone. Because I didn't have a picture of him, so I just used the llama. And the llama made me so angry, I just couldn't help myself." So, yeah, there you go. If that's not Jace, I don't know what is. Julian Blackthorn, the dad of the group. So, the deal with the Blackthorns is their dad was in Darken during City of Heavenly Fire, and when he came after one of the kids, I believe it was Ty, but I'm not sure, Julian had no choice but to kind of go in and kill his father to protect his brother. Julian and the rest of the Blackthorns are now orphaned since their mother had already died when the youngest Blackthorn, Tabby, was born. Julian Blackthorn has been raising them all with the help of Emma. He's actually pretty sly and cunning. You think you're getting Jace all over again, but no, he's a lot more ruthless, and Jace can't be that. Julian can be pretty ruthless sometimes. One thing I can think of is he gives Arthur, his uncle Arthur Blackthorn, this medicine to keep his mind focused, because he has some mental illness that Cassandra Clare, he said it's probably closest to schizophrenic, or at least this is what the internet has said. He's very hard on Ty, and he's not fit to run the Institute, so he doesn't. Julian does, but no one knows that. So Julian feeds him these potions that he gets off the warlock Malcolm Fade to, cover it up, so no one realizes that a 17-year-old is actually doing everything. He is hopelessly in love with Emma and doesn't really give a damn about the rules. The Blackthorn's motto is basically, law is no law. You can tell these are not very strict rule followers. Next we have Cristina Mendoza Rosales, who fled Mexico City after she was betrayed there, and has become Emma's emotional support in the whole, Julian deal. She sees right through the, crap. She knows that they're very into each other even though they shouldn't be, and they're trying to keep it a secret because how illegal it all is in the Claves. The reason she fled Mexico City was because of Diego Rocio Rosales, who is actually a distant relative of hers, but so distant that they're not, blood related or anything. Diego has the nickname Perfect Diego, and supposedly this is because he is literally perfect. He's a Centaurian, which is this, elite branch of Shadowhunter. You have to go to the Scholomance to become a Centaurian. And he is madly in love with Cristina. He's kind of an asshole to everyone else, but not to Cristina, because that's his girl. That's his bae. I mean, you're not going to be an S to your bae. His brother Jaime was plotting to trick Cristina into letting them both get close to her, so they could take control of the Mexico City Institute for their branch of the Rosales family. And when Cristina found out about this, she automatically assumed that Jaime and Diego had this elaborate scheme against her. Jaime was supposed to be her parabatai, but after finding out about that, she obviously didn't want to be his parabatai, so she just left under the excuse of, oh, I'm 18 and I want to see other Shadowhunter culture. So, yeah, she has a lot of resentment toward the both of them, but she was especially hurt by Diego because she did love him. So, now that they're reunited, who knows what's gonna happen. But I could see them getting back together. Yeah, like, it won't be right away, but it could happen. It could happen. Mark Blackthorn, who was kidnapped by fairies in City of Heavenly Fire and was taken to the Wild Hunt. So Mark is half fairy himself, half shadow hunter. So because of that, the shadow hunters don't lay a whole lot of claim to him. They consider, I guess, like a second class shadow hunter because of his fairy blood. Like, for instance, his sister Helen has been exiled to Wrangel Island because she is half fairy. And the Clave did not make much of an effort to get Mark back after he was taken by the Wild Hunt. He is given back during Lady Midnight as incentive for the Shadow Hunters to solve the fairy murders, because again, with all these murders that are happening, a lot of them are fairies, and the fairies want to know why their people are being targeted. So Mark is supposed to be helping with that, but he kind of just stirs up a lot of resentment in Julian, because Julian has been raising the kids by himself, and as Mark is his older brother, he feels that that should have been Mark's job, and that he had all this thrown onto him when he was just a child, because all of those events from City of Heavenly Fire happened when Julian and Emma were 12, so they're barely even teenagers. They can't do all these things that they're doing that are really meant for adults. So he holds a lot of resentment toward Mark. Now, Mark is literally attracted to anything. Like, we've got three things going for him right here. So, we've got Kieran, who is the fairy prince and Mark's lover in the Wild Hunt. And he's kind of like, I don't know, I mean, he has his moments. I can see that he, like, genuinely cares about Mark, and I think that him and Mark do love each other. They just don't have a very healthy relationship. Like, Kieran is very jealous, and because he's so jealous of Mark and Christina, like, holding hands because he's, like, spying out the window because he has to know what Mark's doing at every waking second. So, because of that, he tells Gwyn, the leader of the Wild Hunt, that Mark told Christina how to, like, kill him, but it was, like, an accident. I don't think he really meant to, you know, tell information like that. And even if he did, Christina wasn't gonna, like, go after him. But, so, Kieran basically sold him out, and it caused them to come and want to whip Mark, which didn't end up actually happening because Julian took the whipping for him, but because of the parabatai bond, Emma felt it and saw how much pain he was in, so she put him under some kind of sleeping spell and then took the rest of the whippings for both of them. Mark is also kind of shipped with Christina because they both have an attraction towards the other, and they have both, like, shown interest in the other. But, not a whole lot has happened between the two. Mark is just very emotionally scarred from being in the Wild Hunt, and he's still figuring out how he belongs and what to identify as, a fairy or a shadow hunter, and he's facing discrimination from both sides, so frankly, he probably shouldn't really be very emotionally invested in relationships right now. He needs to figure out his own crap first. And then, most famously, we have the ending where Emma, in an attempt to, you know, get Julian to not love her anymore, asked Mark to pretend with her that they're dating and falling in love, and Mark goes, "Why lie?" I was like, oh my god, I freaked out. Because it's just like, he can obviously tell that Emma and Julian are very in love with each other, and they're trying to be, like, they're always looking out for each other and for the kids, and they're always trying to do what's right, even if it hurts them. So, Mark can see that, and he wants to just, like, I understand it goes with what Emma's asking him, but in the end, they're not going to be happy if they do it for real, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But those are basically the Mark ships. to be honest, I think the most plausible one would probably be either, I'm gonna go with Kieran, because maybe, like, they could come around. If they did the development better in the next books, that could definitely be a possibility. With Christina, I feel like she's going to end up with Diego, and come on, we all know Emma and Julian are going to be endgame. It's just a matter of how they get there. Tiberius Blackthorn, who is one half of the Blackthorn twins. The other half is Livia Blackthorn. Yeah, Livia Blackthorn. My friend and I, we decided to make Shadowhunter names for ourselves, so she decided she was going to be a Herondale, and I decided I was going to be a Fairchild. However, if I had known there was going to be Olivia Blackthorn, I would have been a Blackthorn. Like, my name is Liv, Jesus. But okay, back to Ty. So, he is very, very smart, and he has dreams of being a Centaurian. So when Diego comes around, he's like in awe. He's like, oh my god, there's a Centaurian, a real Centaurian, like right there. So he's very, like, ambitious and smart, and he thinks outside of the box, which is, he's an asset to have around because he pieces things together before the rest of them do a good amount of the time. But he has some kind of autism. So in the Shadowhunter world, they don't even, like, address autism. It's not a thing that they look at because they just frown upon it and try to hide it when it does, like, pop up. So Julian is concerned with him wanting to be a Centaurian because he's going to face a lot of discrimination, and his life is always going to be hard because the Shadowhunters don't accept people like Ty. Romantically, Ty is, I'd say he's probably gonna have some kind of romantic involvement with Kit Rook, because Cassie keeps, like, throwing them together in scenes, and Kit has already been shown to, like, you know, kind of admire Ty from afar when he was, like, attacking him in the basement. So, yeah. And Kit Rook, deal with him is, we start off thinking that he is Johnny Rook's son, and Johnny Rook is this, like, magical potion seller, but he's more of an information seller. He just knows a lot of crap. So people go to him when they want to get dirt on other people or, like, find out things. So Emma uses him as a resource a lot. And right at the end, we find out that he is actually a Shadowhunter in hiding, and he is a Herondale from the line of Tobias Herondale. That means Kit Rook is actually Christopher Herondale, the last of the Tobias Herondale line. Tessa and Jem go to, you know, gather him and tell him he's a Shadowhunter, and he doesn't quite believe them. So he's very distressed and he's denying the whole thing, and they basically come up with this deal that if he can't open the Shadowhunter doors, they'll leave him alone. But if he can, it means he's a Shadowhunter, and he needs to accept that, and they need to train him. So he goes to the doors and he, you know, pushes them open, no problem. And then there's Ty, like, oh, are you okay? Like, and Kit's just sitting there, like, you know, tearing up, like, what the heck is happening? I'm a Shadowhunter, are you kidding me? Because Johnny Rook has been planting ideas that they're all very evil and they're not good people. So Kit is very distressed and basically goes, I'm gonna lock myself in one of these millions of rooms and none of you better come get me out. Kit and Ty are definitely going to be a thing. I can feel it. I can feel it. Olivia Blackthorn, who is Ty's twin, and she desperately wants to be Parabatai with him. The deal is, I don't think Centaurians can have a Parabatai. I'm pretty sure that was said in the book. So, because of that, Ty does not want to be her Parabatai because he wants to be a Centaurian. So, they argue over that. For the most part, they get along, but they understand each other very well. And when they're distressed, they know just what to do to calm the other down. Olivia also has a crush on Jace, so it's pretty funny when Jace comes, you know, to play in the later of the book because Olivia is just, like, fangirling. And Drusilla Blackthorn, who is into horror movies and has a crush on Perfect Diego. So, again, the whole Olivia, Drusilla, like, you know, with the crushes. And then Drusilla even has, like, multiple moments in the book where she's having like body issues, and it's kind of refreshing, like to see Cassie make these characters feel more like real teenagers you would meet in real life. Because the other books, they're just like warriors and they're at war and they don't have any issues that a normal like teenager has. They just act like life and death all the time. But these kids, like, they're crushing on the older guys, friends of their older siblings. They're, having genuine issues with themselves, and they might have low self-esteem or whatever, but they they have like movie nights in the institute, and they have a computer, and it's like, yeah, it's just nice to see how she modernizes the world. Lastly, of the Blackthorn bunch, we have Octavian Blackthorn, who they all refer to as Tavi. He is the youngest Blackthorn, and he's the one that was taken for the ritual at the end that the villain, alright, so let's talk about the villain before we go on with that. So the villain, oh my god, I can't talk. Malcolm Fade is the warlock of Los Angeles, the High Warlock of Los Angeles. He walks through the door tripping on his shoelaces, and you go, oh my god, this is the next Magnus Bane. He might not be as sassy, but, we're gonna love him just as much as we love Magnus Bane. No. He loved Annabelle Blackthorn, who is a Blackthorn ancestor, but her family kept them apart because they didn't accept of her being with a warlock, because she's a shadow hunter. So, because of that, she ended up dying somewhere along the way, and, they locked her up in a room, and she kind of just died in there. So, when Malcolm found out, he was obviously furious, and he wanted revenge on the Blackthorn family. So, he devises this plan to, revive Annabelle, but in order to do so, you need the Hands of Glory. So basically, he starts this ring of, murders, and the whole time throughout the book, the whole Shadowhunters gang is, investigating the victims of the murder, trying to figure out what the, common thread between all of them is. But there is none. It's only until the end that you realize it was never the victims that was the puzzle piece they were looking for. It was the actual murderers. Because after they murdered, Malcolm's people would take whichever hand they murdered with, and once he had 13, I believe, he made the Hands of Glory on this candelabra. And basically, he had to hang the candelabra over a blackthorn and take their blood and perform a spell using all of those things, and that would revive Annabelle. So he took Tavi because, he's 7, he's the easiest, he trusts him, Malcolm, gained their trust by being their friend, and then he just, betrays them like that, and it's not even it's oh, I'm going to kill your youngest sibling betrayal. So it was I was freaking out, and I was so mad and so disappointed, because I wanted Malcolm to be the next Magnus Bane, and that is not what happened. Octavian did not end up being sacrificed because Diana helped, well, she tried to save him, and then all the other kids were there, and they fought with Malcolm. Emma and Malcolm had a showdown in the, caverns of the cave that they were in, and another thing about Emma and Julian is normal Parabatai runes are stronger than the average rune because of the bond that the Parabatai share. But because Emma and Julian are in love, their runes are twice as strong. So when Malcolm attacked her with something, her protection rune saved her life. But it shouldn't have, because whatever he attacked her with was way too strong for that to have a normal protection rune to have saved her from that. So when that happened, Malcolm was already like, oh, you're too far gone. You guys are gonna destroy yourselves. And of course, Emma doesn't know because the clave doesn't tell them anything. So she has no idea what he's talking about, but she has no choice to just kill him. So Malcolm is now dead, and everyone's saved, and it's looking like, everything's going back to being okay. Emma mentions the Parabatai thing to Jem, because Jem had been a silent brother, so she was like, hey, you're not a silent brother anymore. Those oaths don't really, stand. Can you, tell me about the Parabatai thing? So, according to Jem, the deal with Parabatai is if they cross into romantic love, their runes do become way more powerful, but they start to take on warlock-like magic. And apparently, once this starts happening, the Parabatai will have a thirst for, blood or whatever, and they're gonna start, murdering everyone around them. So, I don't know, they made it out to be this really bad thing, and because of that, Emma is like, oh my god, I can't do that to myself and Jules, so that's why she goes to Mark, we need to pretend so Jules doesn't love me anymore so I can change this. Because if it's one-sided, it doesn't work. But if it's, reciprocated on both sides, it's just disastrous. Sure, I really believe that. I believe that the runes strengthen and they get really powerful. I think it would probably create, a super shadow hunter, someone that can't be controlled by the clave, and the clave doesn't like that. So they make some kind of story like that to make people not want to do that, to scare them off. And then they hide it so people are like, oh, well, if it's so well hidden, it's obviously not something we should be doing. So I think it's something more along those lines. But yeah, that's pretty much Lady Midnight, and I really enjoyed it. I read it in a week. It was great, and I'm really excited for the next book, and I'm excited to see where it goes, because right at the end, we get this extreme cliffhanger of Annabelle waking up. So, first off, I don't know how the hell she actually woke up, because Malcolm didn't even do his whole ritual thing, because the kids messed it all up. So, yeah, Annabelle's awake, Malcolm's dead, God knows what's gonna happen. Emma and Julian still love each other, but apparently now Emma and Mark are gonna do the dating thing for real. And then you got Christina and Diego, and God forbid Jaime comes back into the story, actually they're there. Oh my god, I can't wait. It's gonna be good. But until then, I will see you later. And if you have any, book recommendations you want me to, read, do a video for, or whatevs, just, let me know. Put it in the comments. I'll check it out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like.